Good afternoon, and what a cool, grey and overcast day. It is Monday the 27th of February, and I've got a nice hot cup of tea. And another box to finish unboxing. And I have already pulled out a little board game from here, or card game, which is Village Rails, published by Osprey Games. And the other thing I have in here is this, which is Undaunted Normandy, which has basically got the Dice Tower seal of approval there, and recommended also by Shut Up and Sit Down, both essentially YouTube channels with extensive board game reviews. So this is Undaunted Normandy, published by Osprey Games, and it's a war game. Now, I don't do a great deal of wargaming, although I like the idea of it, and I like the miniatures and everything like that. It looks fantastic. I'm not very good at it. I'm not a very good painter, that sort of thing. But Undaunted Normandy, June 1944. Through the D-Day landings, the Allies have seized a foothold on the beaches of Normandy. Now you must lead your troops as you push deeper into France and drive back the German forces. You will face intense resistance, machine gun fire and mortar bombardment, but a great commander can turn even the bleakest situation to their advantage. Take charge amidst the chaos of battle, hold fast in the face of opposition, and remain undaunted. Undaunted Normandy is a campaign-driven deck-building game of tactical World War II combat. Use your cards to seize the initiative, bolster your forces, and control your troops on the battlefield. But be warned, every casualty on the field removes a card from your deck, limiting your options and leaving you at the mercy of your opponent. So, it's a deck-building skirmish historical board game. 18 map tiles, 4 dice, 85 tokens, and a scenario booklet. And this series has actually proved to be quite popular, because you've also got Undaunted North Africa, and it's more recently Undaunted Stalingrad, which is a huge board game in this series. So let's find out what's inside. So getting the plastic off. What we have is a nice box with the linen finish. And we open up, the first thing we've got is the scenario booklet. I'll pull that out, it comes away. So, the first thing straight off is, this is what you'll be playing. That's a nice touch, sort of like, there's nothing on the front, but it's clear and simple on what it is. And you've got some background. You'll be controlling the forces of the 30th Infantry Division, you listed all the scenarios in there. You've got 5 scenarios listed there, which take you from Larray through to crossing the line, and then detailing the US victory and the German victory. Starting deck set up for both sides, and then we're into the first scenario, and you're setting up with these tiles, those units, and giving an US objective and a German objective, as well as a bit of background here. So nice clear setup, and it's going to do that again and again on each page. And this sort of reminds me to a certain extent, the Avalon Hill Victory Games card game up front, which is the card game variant of Squad Leader. At least, in terms that you're playing cards to act, undertake actions, move, attack, and rally, and so forth. So we've got all these different scenarios. Scenario 3, and then behind enemy lines. Scenario 4, and they're getting larger and larger in their terrain. And then we've got this crossing the wire, not crossing the wire. And then it's more. There isn't. It's not just campaign place. You've literally just got the 5 scenarios mentioned here, but there's more than 5 in the book. So, desperate withdrawal, La Houbidière, scenario 7. So lots of these. Streets of Tessilvaya, scenario 8. You know, and it's got sort of like you have this kind of similar modular terrain that you had in things like your Kinto's Battle or 88 and Armour series. Scenario 10, Political Intelligence. So you've got some flexibility in there that you can go in and redesign your own scenarios. So you've got Hill 314, scenario 12, Mortain. So it's not just 5 scenarios; it's 12. See, and the thing is, they're all replayable. You know, it's a case of, you know, once you've had a go as the one side, you can swap around and do it the other. See whether or not you can win using the enemy using the forces of the enemy. In your last game. Next we have Undaunted Normandy. That's the rulebook. So explanation, basically some colour fiction, and then we've got a component description and breakdown, description of the units and the cards and the combat units as well. So you've got combat cards, command cards, fog of war cards, and so on. Excuse me. Tokens that come into play, clearly laid out, easy to read. And then the setup for the first scenario, and then we're on to how to play. Actions you can take, so movement actions, support actions, combat actions, and then we've got an example round, and that's not just a case of going through it bit by bit, but essentially that's fully illustrated. And again, I do love really good examples of play, because sometimes that's the easiest way to learn, is to read through a well done example of play, because as I keep saying, an example of play is essentially the show part of the rules. It's showing you how the game works rather than the rules just telling you, or in addition to. So we get to the game end, and then we've got a discussion of sort of what makes up a platoon. So in more detail, and then there's a historical note at the end. Always like a bit of history, just giving it a bit of colour. And the other thing is, it's got a note there on soldier names. So all the soldiers in the game have names, which always has a little bit of verisimilitude. You come sort of kind of care about them. You want them to succeed. There's almost a bit of sort of like role play and investment of your time and effort into seeing them do well and survive. And that even goes back to the squad leader, where you have individual leaders, all named, and so on. And it's done here, and I think that's a great idea. So, and then we've got a reference table there. Access, bit of a, what's I've got in here? Advert for future other games. So that's London 2nd edition, Martin Wallace's game, Lost Expedition on the back, because Osprey Games publishes both role-playing games and board games. So, and this is of course one of them. And then we've got the tokens themselves. You can see really nice artwork on them. My only grumble is sort of like the head being cut off there. It would have been nice if there'd been a bit more artwork, more of the artwork in the tokens. But they've had to sort of like compromise to get the information down below. So yeah, so those are the US forces. This is the German forces. And then you've got Then beneath that, you've got this. So 3 10-sided dice. Not going to tip that up any further. You've got the tiles and then the cards there. So let's just have a look at the tiles. And there aren't actually that many tiles. You've got about 20 tiles there. So you've got like a field hospital, clearing, basically forested section with a lake or a pond, more forest, farm and fields. Okay, more farms, more fields. Okay, sorry, I'm just going through things so you just see. So, and then the thing is, the idea here is that for the most part, the game is played across a rural landscape. Some of it worked, some of it open. You know, so it's just a hut or a house. So we've got buildings and a river section. Several of those like that. So these are really nice, and then that, you know, the little bit bridge there, that becomes important, of course, and a larger bridge. You don't actually have any roads on here, which is sort of like an odd omission, but I mean, you know, it does mean it's not quite so not so difficult to put them all together, because, you know, you're trying to connect roads. You could, you know, and then you've got 1 deck of cards for the German side, and then, for example, there's the platoon sergeant. You know, so, you know, basically values for bolster and command, and so on. And let's have a look. Basically the name is given there, Rudolf Wagner, and then underneath this is Jack Sullivan, platoon sergeant. It's a similar scores, and so on. And it's the artwork is this essentially this watercolor style done throughout. So yeah, that is Undaunted, a deck-driven war game, are basically it's sort of like at about platoon or squad scale, that essentially presents a lot of options in terms of replayability, because you've got this 12 scenarios in there. You've also got you know, the scope to design your own, flexibility in terms of the terrain. So yeah, not lovely little package, and I think it's sort of kind of self-contained, small. You don't need to invest in sort of lots of miniatures for it. Beyond this, you've got everything you need to play a complete campaign across Normandy. Undaunted Normandy, published by Osprey Games. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below, and of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a box containing a book or game, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so. Then all, of course, accompanied by a nice cup of tea. Then please do hit the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching. Be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.